Hi guys, my name is Vishwarup Shahu and welcome back to our new podcast video which is MS in US, and today we have our new guest Mr. Kaushik with us. So Kaushik, please introduce yourself.
Hi Piyush and hi Biswaroop. Hi, this is Kaushik. I'm currently a graduate student pursuing my master's in mechanical engineering at Louisiana State University.
Yeah, so today we are going to have our podcast video which is on MS in US and especially in Louisiana State University, how you can do your masters there. And let us start it. So you can see the whole video and you can find some interesting facts about it. Hi Kaushik, welcome back. And So let us start this video by asking you that can you tell us about your profile and overall profile, what you have done in your bachelor's and about your GRE scores and TOEFL scores too.
Yeah, sure. So I did my bachelor's from a well-renowned university in Karnataka, which is called PES University. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I had an overall CGPA of 8.65 on a scale of 10 at the end of my eighth semester. And apart from this, my university encouraged us to participate in extracurricular activities such as entrepreneurship and design related events. So I actually ended up founding one or two clubs there, in fact, after
Wow.
before I graduated. So these are some of the activities that I did in my undergrad. I additionally also pursued a minor in computer science when I was studying in my undergraduate university, which helped me get knowledge on Python, C++, and other softwares which are being used these days in most of the companies. The other thing is that, of course, I ended up writing my GRE and TOEFL. My GRE score was 310 with a verbal score of 150 and a quant score of 160, and my
Wow.
TOEFL score was 100,
That's good.
which ended up helping me um, like fetch an assistantship for my master's. And I'm kind of studying here, like getting paid for the duties I do at my university.
No, that's really great. And why you specially chose USA for your master's?
Yeah, the reason I chose USA for my master's was, first and foremost, the common language that people speak here is English, and that was one of the key factors for me in helping me choose the right destination for me to study the masters. Because if I had to choose Germany or Sweden or any other country, they had a language requirement which I
Yeah.
wasn't ready to go through and fulfill, because it would become tough for us to get a job eventually at such countries, and they would prefer a person who speaks these languages to get a job. Since I was already quite proficient and at English, and my grammar was kind of good, I ended up choosing United States for my higher education. And the other reason is that US is also very innovative and entrepreneurship oriented. I wanted to learn a bit more on how to work with people and deal with some of the challenges, and try to like work with a couple of companies or startups and get into like business related stuff at the end of the day. So that's why I ended up choosing US for an overall well-rounded development of my education.
Wow. So in which field you are doing your major right now?
My major is currently in mechanical engineering with a
Mhm.
focus in 3D bioprinting, which is basically a niche new domain which is erupting, and it kind of is very cross-disciplinary in the regard that it we work with 3D bioprinters, and like we need to learn a lot of different disciplines to work with such printers, such as electrical, robotics, computer science, material science, biological engineering, and chemical engineering and whatnot. So we are trying to print and fabricate living tissues and organs, promoting regeneration of bone and muscle tissue. So it's quite a new field, and US is kind of one of the most innovative places to pursue such
Yeah.
a domain. So I ended up doing, I mean, great in the 2 years that I've been here. I've worked at one of the top companies for 3D bioprinting. I mean, I interned there last fall. So I've learned a lot about how the market space in US works, how the like companies grow themselves and promote individual growth within an organization. A lot of different aspects and parameters uh, are really good in US as opposed to other countries with regards to work restrictions and whatnot.
Okay, that's
Okay, so Kaushik, please tell us which universities did you applied for?
Yeah, so I basically applied to 7 universities after my bachelor's. The universities are University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of Minnesota Twin Cities, Oregon State University, Louisiana State University, University of Massachusetts at Amherst, University of Texas at Arlington, and Missouri University of Science and Technology, which is located in Rolla, Missouri. I ended up getting admits from 5 of these universities out of the 7 that I applied to. The only 2 universities which I did not end up getting an admit was UW Madison and U Minnesota. These are really top notch for like getting a admit, and I quite did not have the above average profile that they needed.
And why did you went for LSU, not other 6 universities?
Yeah, the main reason for me to choose LSU was because one of the professors here liked my overall profile, and I chose a thesis track as opposed to a non-thesis track, which most people end up choosing, because I eventually had plans for doing a PhD. So I just wanted to explore the option of doing a thesis because I really love the area of research as such. So I opted to come to LSU because the professor offered me an assistantship, which is basically given to students who perform well and who they seem qualified enough to give an assistantship to. So the assistantship basically takes care of your fee. It gives you a fee waiver on your university bill, and they pay you a stipend every month for you to perform duties for the university. So here currently right now I've got a research assistantship this year, but till now I was a teaching assistantship, and I've handled multiple different students and taught a university course for the students here.
wow.
Okay.
So Kaushik, please tell us about your course structure.
Yes, so the course structure at LSU is quite diverse. It depends from department to department. So my course structure is based on a thesis track, and in the thesis track, I'm supposed to do 24 hours of credit and 6 hours of thesis research work. So that's how my course is split up, out of which I am supposed to take 4 core courses of 7,000 level or higher from one of the domains which LSU offers here. The 3 domains that they offer are heat, heat, something to do with combustion. Not quite sure. It's all in the handbook. So I would refer to the handbook if at all I have any questions or doubts. So they have like material science, robotics, and heat transfer. Basically, these are the 3 domains that encompass mechanical engineering, and I've chosen the material science domain. Additionally, I would be graduating with a bioengineering degree as well, because I have learned a lot about bioengineering, and I would like to get into that sphere of multidisciplinary research for my future academic reasons or industry reasons.
Wow, that's good. And you also have that project work too. Means the people can choose it.
Yes. Yeah. So there is an option of doing something called non-thesis, which I'm not very well aware of. People can end up doing a project for 6 credits
Oh,
and still graduate with it, but they would have to take more courses in that regard if they are doing the non-thesis track. All of this information can be found out with the respective handbooks that would be provided to you by the department.
okay. Once you get admitted, then they send you these handbooks.
Yes, no, not really. You would have to search on the website to find it,
Okay,
but on certain occasions they would send it to you, depending on which department you are from.
okay. That's nice.
Yeah.
So Can you tell us about some internship opportunities or co-ops?
So interesting enough, my university does not provide any internship opportunities for graduate students that I know of. So I happened to do my internship after my night. So there is a clause for international students here to do their internship. You're supposed to finish up 9 months of your study before going into an internship. That's the clause that the US offers for international students. So I ended up studying 2 semesters, and after my 2 semesters, I was on the verge of searching for my internship. I did a lot of hashtag searching and whatnot because I really needed an internship for the US experience, multinational, working at a multinational company. I really wanted that experience. So I ended up getting my internship in July of 2019. So I happened to land up in one of the top research companies for my field, and I went to Boston to intern with them. So I would say US is pretty resourceful with its internship opportunities, but people and students have to be vigilant enough to find out the right places where you could get your internship opportunities from. That's the first and foremost step that people need to work on in United States. The moment they land, they have to start searching for an internship because that experience is really, really good. Like nothing beats that experience.
So what are the other types of things that student participates in during their masters? Since I have seen a lot of students opens a new club or like that.
Yeah, there are a couple of different things that students can take part in. Like, for example, I am into fitness, and I do a lot of fitness related activities. In and around my university, there are a couple of lakes, and the university recreation, like takes you around these lakes in a kayak and activities like these that keep you engaged with the university setting and help you, you know, like how do I put it?
I
Help
have heard
you
that LSU has
keep
a
your
very
mind
big campus.
refreshed. Yes, the campus here is quite big. It's a 2,000-acre campus with a lot of amenities to do a lot of different things. And you should definitely consider applying to LSU if you guys are interested to come. The other thing is that like a lot of students can take part in different entrepreneurship related activities as well. You'll get a little bit idea on how business development works, how like the uh, monetization of a resource works, and things which you have never learned before can be learned in United States. And it's also a really, really diverse, culturally diverse atmosphere. You'll meet people from different countries, and you can network with these people whenever you go to do certain activities and learn different cultural differences that exist between different communities and whatnot.
Wow, that's really great.
So, Kaushik, please tell us about the housing. Like, which one did you prefer for on campus or off campus?
So typically, most of the undergraduate students prefer the on-campus housing due to the safety reasons, and since they're still young and mentally not as mature as graduate students. So being a graduate student, I obviously wanted to stay off campus as the rents are typically cheaper, and you have commuting options as well to campus. So there's not a lot of difference staying on campus and off campus, personally, in my regard, as long as you know where your resources are, where your amenities are, so on and so forth. So I preferred to stay off campus as the rents were significantly lower, and I wanted to have a grocery store next door to my place. So we have a Walmart next door to my place.
Oh, wow.
So these were some of the factors that I consider while choosing apartment, looking at the resources and all of the things that any student would need to look into before moving into an apartment.
So, what's your plan after completing your master's?
Yeah, so my plan after completing my master's is to like get into an academic setting again for my PhD. That's the plan which I have as of right now. But with all of the COVID disruptions and a lot of commotion happening around the space of academia, I do want to keep an offer from an industry as well. I want to have like one or two offers at my disposal, because that would allow me to choose whether I want to get into an academic setting or whether I want to get into an industry setting based on the circumstances that would prevail at the end of my graduation. Say the vaccine gets released and a lot of people get cured of the that they get vaccinated, sorry, not cured, of the virus. We would
Yeah,
basically, I would go based on which opportunity is more lucrative for me at that time.
yeah. Okay. So can can you name some universities that are good for masters in the field of mechanical engineering?
Oh yes, definitely. So there are a couple of different universities that are good for mechanical engineering, depending on depending on the kind of research you want to get into or kind of domain you want to get into. So for example, like my university is really good for cross-disciplinary and multidisciplinary research. And it's very well known. It's one of the top 100 programs in the US for mechanical engineering. Some of the other universities that are good are University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign is good. University of California at San Diego is good. University of California at Santa Barbara is good. Some of the universities in the Michigan belt, Michigan and Ohio belt are good. For example, Ohio State University, Michigan State University, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and a lot of the universities in um, the east part, such as Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, are also good for mechanical engineering.
Okay. So what about CPT and OPT?
Yes. So CPT and OPT are two of the options that the university offer for you to experience an internship, or get into a full-time position. The CPT option is available for you when you get an internship before you graduate, which is what happened in my case. And a CPT is valid for 11 months. So you can work up to 11 months on a CPT. I ended up just working for 6, but there is a possibility of you to extend it to 11 months. And that's the flexibility that the university gives you on CPT. And OPT is basically, so CPT stands for curricular practical training, and OPT stands for optional practical training. So the main reason why a lot of students get attracted to US is because of the fact that they offer OPT, and OPT is usually offered to students after they graduate out of university. That's why they call it F1 OPT and STEM extension, which basically means that you have a year of work available to utilize. You have a year to utilize for your work, and the STEM extension applies to you after you utilize that 1 year, which basically applies for 2 additional years for you to work.
Okay.
So Kaushik, can you tell us about the job market in US especially on mechanical engineering field?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The job market is pretty good. A lot of different industries hire different students to, work on some of the cutting edge technologies. For example, Tesla hires automotive engineers to work on the chassis and powertrain and all of the different new components and innovations that Tesla is doing. Some of the other companies that hire mechanical engineers are robotics and fields like mine, such as biotechnology as well. Because nowadays, with all of the technology and advancements that we have, everything is becoming cross-disciplinary. It's almost as if we can't stay without one another's field. It's like I
Yeah.
need to learn a little bit of computer science, I need to learn a little bit of electronics, I need to learn a little bit of biology, and it's kind of becoming that space where if you don't know something, you won't get a job. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
competition for
Even in the
the
field
job
of solar
market.
energy, they are implementing AI and machine learning so that it can be much more smarter, like smart grid and
Exactly.
all.
So And AI and ML are like the hot topics these
Yeah.
days. Everybody uses them. Okay, like left, right, and center. Everybody tells AI
Yes.
and ML. So it's a pretty um, it should
Yeah.
be added to the dictionary, is what I think.
Yes. And they are quite
So
interesting too.
yes, precisely.
Yeah. So, what to expect from US universities in upcoming years?
I would definitely say growth, because US is always the country where people prefer pursued masters in. Like nobody, I've not heard a lot of other people talk about other different countries to pursue their masters and kind of settle down. They would rather just go for their masters there and go back to India. But
Hmm.
people in the US actually want to settle down in the US.
Yeah.
So they'll say masters from US is a good choice because you would eventually be able to settle down in the country you study in. So that's the prospect I look at for the universities, because a lot of the universities would encourage their students to come study, as it would promote their international growth and their overall development in terms of the economy and money as well.
And can you tell us about your visa experience while coming
Sure.
to you? Yeah.
Yeah, my visa experience was quite good. In fact, I had written an article on a Facebook page about my visa interview in depth, and you can link that in the description if you want to.
Obviously, we are going to
Definitely,
mention it.
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So my suggestion to you guys would be to go through MS in US Facebook pages to check out visa experiences. That's what I ended up doing before my visa interview. So my visa interview was quite smooth because I had an assistantship offer at my hand. So they didn't ask me many questions because they knew I was qualified enough to get a visa because I already had an offer of assistantship. So the only
Wow.
questions they ended up asking me were my GRE score and the university admits I had, and like what my plans after graduation were. These are the three things that they ended up asking me, and she just said visa approved, and it wasn't a really um, tough process. It was hassle free for me, I would say.
That's great.
So, Kaushik, please tell us, like, do you have some points to mark out for students how they can ace their visa interview?
Yeah, sure. So to ace your visa interview, I would just say go with a lot of confidence. Like I've seen most of the students like kind of shy out and freak out before their interviews. So I would say the main thing is to get yourself removed on, well, don't think of it as an interview, just think of it as a normal conversation, and don't keep any kind of a barrier between like the individual who's interviewing you, and don't think of that person as a foreign person. Just think of it as just a normal conversation through Facebook Messenger or something, just saying, hey, how is it going? It's just a normal conversation. So you need to break that mental barrier and display a flare of confidence in order for you to ace not just a visa interview, any interview in your life in the future as well.
So, do you have any tips for students who are aspiring to study masters in United States?
Yeah, the tips I have for students who are studying their masters in United States is that don't limit yourself. That's all I tell everyone wherever I go. Just don't think of it as a master's degree. Think of it as a learning experience. Because if you just think of it as a master's degree, you're going to spend a lot of effort learning subjects and studying subjects and not focusing on other activities. Uh, Take my own example. Like if I had done that, I would have not enjoyed my life in US. Like I do a lot of different activities and still have maintained a perfect GPA, and I have done a lot of marathoning, and I've done a lot of volunteer services, and I've basically learned to just learn and grow with the country or with the education system, and not I don't look at it as a degree. I just look at it as a learning experience. That's the one major tip that I would give any student coming into United States.
So, guys, this was all for this video, and we are going to mention the links that in the description below, and you can follow Mr. Kaushik in his LinkedIn, and you can also ask any kind of doubt to him. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Watching me from across the room. Don't act like this dance show's just for you. Kissing him like I just don't care. Hit the dance floor, baby, if you dare. I push up on it, bite my lip. It's like an addiction, I need a hit. I push up on it, bite my lip. And then you tell me